Welcome back. So, we already know that this story is based on the life of famous personality Helen Keller and a teacher, Mrs. Sully. Let's start. So, it was the summer of 1880. Healthy baby girl was born in a small town in Alabama. Where the story is set? Small town in Alabama. Where is Alabama? USA. Her parents loved her dearly and named her Helen. But one day the baby became ill, and the day after day her fever stayed high. I told you she had very high. Everyone in the family tried to help her to get better, but all they could say was, "There is nothing more we can do. The baby may not live." They went on to the doctor, tried everything, but nobody gave any hope, and they said the baby may not survive this illness. Helen lived. She did not die, but she was not the same after her illness. Something is very wrong, her mother said. At last, they found out what was wrong. The mother has an instinct. She was like, okay, my baby is not having the fever anymore, but something has gone wrong with her because she is not the way she was before. So after some time, they found out that she couldn't see or hear anymore. What was wrong with her? She couldn't see or hear. So she suddenly, if a child, they could see and hear, and suddenly it goes, then automatically they will feel restless and they are not able to tell you what the problem is. So she was very restless, and mother felt that something was wrong after the illness, and then slowly they found out at last that she has lost her eyesight and hearing. The baby grew into a little girl. Now, it's not immediately she got help. She was in that condition for some time before she found a teacher to help her understand the outside world. So parents felt very sorry for her. Helen often cried and held on to her mother. I told you, if you couldn't hear or see, you will just feel the touch. So you will be very, attached to that touch because that's your only link to the outside world. Okay? So she just held on to her mother. She just won't let her go. And Helen often, maybe you should give the poor child what she wants, her father would say, because they couldn't understand what she wanted, because she couldn't communicate anyway, because she couldn't hear. Though Helen could not hear or see, she was a bright little girl. Parents could see that her brain was fine. Some people thought Helen could not learn anything because nobody could reach her. The brain is fine. But because the senses are shut, how will the information reach? How will the brain get trained? You are getting trained. I'm giving you information right now. So you are having it stored in your brain. So if I don't give you this information, you will not have this knowledge. Okay. So the doors of getting that information from outside world was completely shut on Helen because she lost her both senses, the most important ones. Okay. So some people thought she could never learn anything because of that, and they just told the parents that why don't you send her away to some place where she will not have a life so that you are not bothered. How selfish of them to say that, but really, the parents didn't give up. Her mother did not agree. Thanks, but Helen is very smart, she said, and added, the problem is, how can we reach her? She's locked up inside herself. That's what I told you right now. Because of her condition, her brain was locked up. She couldn't communicate and she couldn't reach, understand anything that was being told to her. So that was the problem. Nothing else. Her brain was completely fine, normal. Only the doors of the brain were closed. Eyes and ears, these are the doors to the brain. So, trouble. Her parents thought that they should find a teacher for her. Mrs. Sullivan, a young teacher, agreed to help Helen. Finally, to see the world, Mrs. Sullivan gave Helen a doll. The first thing that she did was giving Helen a doll. Before she met Helen, Helen was like this. She was a grumpy child. And as she grew up, she became wild, and she would not let anyone comb her hair. Her clothes were always dirty. She was often angry, and sometimes she even lay on the floor and kicked her feet. Why? Because of the frustration. She is not able to communicate. Nobody understands her, and she doesn't understand anybody. So she was frustrated, completely lost, losing it. Okay? Then the parents found. I just sorry. This, I think the numbering of the slide animation went wrong, and the first line came afterwards. So this confusion happened. Okay. So her parents thought that they should find a teacher, okay, a trained person who could reach her. So they found a young teacher, Miss Sullivan, and she agreed to help Helen learn to see the world. Mrs. Sullivan gave Helen a doll. The first thing that she did was give Helen a doll, and she spelled doll on her with her fingers on her hand, you know, like this. You write it down. But how will she understand DOLL? Let's see how she did it. So she made the letters with special hand signals because she is not knowing that this is D. If I make D on your hand, you will know because you know the letter D. But how will Helen know? She doesn't know anything. So there was a special hand signal. She used that. I will show you in the next slide. So Helen copied her teacher and spelled doll too. So she understood suddenly that this object that I'm touching is doll. That is the first word that she to know. He did not know that she was spelling a word or even that word existed, but she knew that this symbol, whatever it is, this is this object also. That connection was established first time. Maybe till then she just touched her parents and knew that they are somebody very important to me. I belong to them, whatever was going on in her brain. So the turning point. So this picture is from a movie that was made on the story of Helen. So Helen liked Mrs. Sullivan. He completely liked her. She was strict but kind. In the days that followed, Helen learned to spell in this way. The hand gestures. I will show you. A great many words, among them were pin, hat, cup, a few verbs like sit, stand, and walk. But her teacher had been with her several weeks before she understood that everything had a name. Now everything came to her slowly because her senses, like when you see and you hear, it is faster for you, but she's guessing. Everything cannot come to her directly. It has to go through signals. The process was slow. One day her teacher made Helen put her hand into running water. Then she spelled water. Suddenly Helen understood that water meant something wet running over her hand. She understood that words were most important things in the world. Words would tell her everything she wanted to know. That was the turning point. Water, putting her hand under the, you can see in the picture, tube well, and after she experienced water, she spelled water on her hand. So she understood that everything has a name. The connection that came in. Okay. So Helen learned 30 words that day. 30. Mother, father, sister, teacher were among them. Words that were to make the world blossom in her. Helen, I'm reading again. Helen learned 30 words that day. Mother, father, sister, teacher were among them. Words that were to make the world blossom for her. You understand? Without words, we can speak them. She was not speaking, but still she was knowing the words then. So that's all you need. You need a name for everything. And you can think. You have words in your mind. That's the only reason that you think. If there are no words, what will you think? Think over this question. It would have been difficult to find a happier child than Helen as she lay in her bed at the close of that eventful day. He thought about the joys it had brought her, and for the first time longed for a new day to come. This was the most important day in Helen's life. This is what the chapter is all about. The day when she experienced and understood that water is something that I just felt. And then she immediately caught up because she understood that everything has a name. And then she learned 30 words that day. And she was very happy and excited. She knew, okay, this is my mother, this is my father. She had words now to think about in her brain. It was not empty. If you don't have words, this, your thought will be empty. You try to, brush up all the words from your life and then try to think of something. Can you? Well, I can't. Try if you can. Hmm? So that day, she longed for a new day because she had found her purpose. Learning new words. So this is how she spelled. I told you. I had told you. I will tell you. See, this is the hand signal. So on the hand, like this, she made. So this was W for her, and then A, and then something like this. I will have to learn that. E and E and R. Learn this. Okay, this is very important. Okay, try to learn these symbols. This is what changed Helen's life, right? So by the end of August, in 6 short months, Helen knew 625 words. By the time she was 16, Helen could speak well enough to go to college. Speaking also, because she would just go, must have speech therapy also was given to her. And she used to, hold lips of her teacher and understand what she was telling. Hmm? Through the vibrations. And Helen Keller, the little girl, became one of history's most famous women. She traveled around the world, speaking in more than 25 countries in 5 major continents. Wherever she went, she brought new courage to millions of people. At age 22, Keller published her autobiography, The Story of My Life, in 1903 with help of Sullivan and Sullivan's husband, John Wesley. Keller wrote The World I Live It in 1908, giving her readers an insight into how she felt about the world. Out of Dark, a series of essays also on socialism was published in 1994. So, you see, if you don't give up and your parents, your teachers don't give up on you, you can achieve whatever you want despite any obstacle that you face in your life. Hmm? If she can do, why can't you? And here you can see, have the world at your feet. Just because of these 5 senses, we can achieve everything that we want. So people who lose them also, they can achieve whatever greatness is there given to them by God. Just should never give up. That's the key. Take care. I'll see you in the grammar portion with the videos of grammar portion for this chapter. Till then, take care. Bye bye.